The sexy boy's been a bad boy, and we get one hell of a rematch from Fall Brawl. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dropkicks and Attractions. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard to Dropkicks and Attractions. I am Xander Invictus, joined by my close personal friend and longtime co-host through our 875 iterations, Big Buck. How are you, sir?
Doing good, Xander. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I'm off for the next 2 days, but that doesn't mean I'm having off days because you know how the life of content creating goes.
I do indeed. I've gotten more into it since recently.
It's fun and not fun at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's a great way to put it. Hurts so good.
This is how I put it. If you're trying to do it at the level I'm doing it, you have 2 full-time jobs, but only one you get paid from one.
Ooh, good way to put it.
Thank you. By the way, beverage of the evening is Rain energy drink, only because they were cheaper at Kroger. I have the rainbow sherbet. It actually tastes surprisingly like rainbow sherbet. It's actually really good.
Cool. I'm on diet too, same as usual.
Yep. I'm not surprised. You're the only reason Diet Dew still exists.
Yeah, I am predictable.
Yeah. Speaking of predictable, we're talking about Monday Night Raw and WCW Saturday Night. Also, it would behoove me to say hello to everybody at the Main Event Wrestling Network, where Dropkicks and Attractions is a proud member.
Oh yeah, great guys.
Yeah, we've been checking out their all their shows. Like I said, if you like podcasts, videos, blogs, they're on TikTok now doing stuff. Follow all the guys everywhere. I was actually I was on one of them the other day where they were doing what if WWE and AEW had their own Forbidden Door pay-per-view.
Ooh, that's a nice concept. Be cool if they actually did it.
It'll never happen.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The matches I came up with were just, if I could quote Sheamus,
banger after banger after banger.
Let's put it this way. The first match I came up with, are you ready for this one?
I'm ready for this one.
Ilya Dragunov versus Bryan Danielson.
Ooh, I can see that being amazing.
I know it would be. One of many that I came up with.
Yeah, I'm actually keeping up with Raw and SmackDown again, so I have seen Ilya. He's great.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's one of my favorites. I've been watching him since NXT. He's ridiculously good. So, speaking of Raw, we are coming from New Haven, Connecticut, September 27th, 1993. The first, I think it's 2, if not 3 shows from New Haven. We are opening not with a whimper, but a bang. The quote-unquote president. Can you hear my air quotes?
Yes, I can. They're blatant.
Thank you. Jack Tunney. This was the president on TV only. Jack Tunney. My first president, by the way. To tell you how long ago this was. He looks like in an office setting. He basically says Shawn Michaels has not made any title defenses and been a bad boy, not being where he's supposed to be. So not only is he suspended, he's being stripped of the title. So what they're going to do next week, there will be a 20-man battle royal, and the last 2 winners, not just the winner, but the last 2, will then go on to a match the week after that for the Intercontinental title.
That's going to be a lot of fun, both the Battle Royal and the title match.
Yeah, and they give us the entire lineup of the Battle Royal tonight. Here in a little bit. It's actually pretty stacked roster for a Monday Night Raw Battle Royal.
And yeah, I can tell that even with my limited knowledge of Raw in this era.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, we're going to go into a match right now. 2 of these men are going to be in the Battle Royal. We have the still undefeated Tatanka go up against somebody I'm actually happy to see because I know we saw them at the Royal Rumble. I'm not sure if we've seen them on Raw in any kind of wrestling capacity. Rick the Model Martel.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen him wrestle on Raw. He might have been in a segment at some point.
Maybe, but I know for a fact he was at the Royal Rumble.
Right.
You're getting towards the tail end of his WWF run. I think he would have occasional spots on not really Raw. He would be like on the B&C shows. I think his last match would be next year.
Which ones were the B&C shows at this point?
You would do stuff like your All-American Wrestling, your Manias, Wrestling Challenge.
Okay.
The stuff that you would see like on USA at 12 o'clock on a Saturday, or like the ones that would be syndicated for some reason,
Gotcha.
stuff like that. And I know you and I literally talk nothing about, butt wrestling 100% of the time.
Not a damn other thing.
No. Not that, we have hobbies or interests or, political climate discussions.
Gonna say, yeah, who the hell has that?
I know. You came up to me one day and asked me a weird question. You were like, hey, Xander, even though I'm using your fake name in real life, do you happen to have one person that you think should be in the Hall of Fame that isn't yet? Which is a weird question even for you.
Gotta say, yeah, that's not the strangest thing I've ever said.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't even remember saying that. And I gave you the answer of Rick the Model Martel. He is not in the WWF Hall of Fame yet. Should be. For those that don't know, there's going to be a little bit of a Rick Martel history because I'm sure a good amount of listeners here aren't familiar with his work.
Mm-hmm.
You should be. He was in the first time he actually before that he was from actually it's going to come into play here shortly. He's from Canada. He's from Canada. Fantastic technical wrestler.
Yeah, I could see that in this match.
This was actually ironically his second run of the WWF. The first time was way back, I want to say the late 70s, where him and you see him a lot of times as a road agent right now, especially 93, Tony Gurria.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Tony Gurria were former WWF tag champs, might even been WWF tag champs.
Oh, wow. That's old news.
I think at least once or twice. So I think WWF was that into, I think, 79, I think. Honestly, it's not as far back as you think it was when they changed.
Gotcha.
And then he went over to AWA, which at the time was a big deal because at the time you were looking at one of it would have been, I would say, the big three promotions in America, because you were still doing territories then, I would consider the NWA with all its territories as like an umbrella promotion, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
So I would have said that the WWF, AWA, and the NWA were your big three.
Maybe kind of like a multi-channel network like Channel Awesome used to be, something like that?
No, because these were all separate entities.
Oh, okay.
They weren't together.
Gotcha.
Channel, I would say the NWA was like Channel Awesome, where you had a bunch of channels underneath, but there were still like an overarching thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, that was what I meant.
Yeah, NWA, yes, but the three of them together, no. They're like, it would be, using your YouTube analogy, they would be separate YouTube channels, independent of each other.
Gotcha.
But at one time, Rick Martel was the AWA World Champion. So obviously he was thought of highly enough for his skill to be a world champion in one of the biggest promotions in America at the time. And then he came back in the mid-80s-ish. First he was in a tag team called the Can-Am Connection with Tom Zank, who we've seen plenty of times right now in WCW.
Right, the Z-Man over there.
Yeah, the Z-Man. They were a tag team for a while, and then Tom Zank had left, so he started a tag team with Tito Santana called Strike Force.
Ooh.
Who were actually quite successful. Like, I wouldn't say no more than a few months after they started officially teaming together, they won the tag titles from Hart Foundation.
Oh, wow.
And held them until WrestleMania 5 when Martel turned heel, and he basically stayed heel for the majority of his career.
Gotcha.
As the model. You see him, he's very smarmy and arrogant. He comes out with a very, like, pastel and neon, the bow tie and the jacket.
Yeah.
Well, there for a while, he would come out with the sweater around his neck, that whole thing. And he would have a atomizer, one of those big old, like the Looney Tunes atomizers.
Mm-hmm.
With his perfume, he would call arrogance. Like, he would spray the guy after winning. Or most famously, he had this feud with Jake the Snake leading up to WrestleMania 7 where he sprayed it in Jake's eyes and he went blind for a while.
Oh, gosh.
Blind. So they decided to have a blindfold match at WrestleMania where they tried to wrestle with hoods over their eyes.
I take it from the way you put that, it didn't work out well.
Look it up.
Okay.
And you know me, I am a huge Jake the Snake fan. I do enjoy a good Rick Martel match. This was not one for either one of them.
Gotcha.
Even when I was a kid, I was like, this sucks. Think about it. There was just them trying to do the whole pantomime, trying to figure out where everybody else is at for, like, the whole match.
Right.
It was not good. Anyways, what was good was this match.
Oh, yeah, I love this.
There's a lot of, history interspersed throughout this match because when Tatanka first debuted, one of his first feuds was with Rick Martel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then if you go back to Survivor Series 92, which was the Survivor Series before Raw started, so no more than a couple months before Raw debuted,
Right.
they had a match because there was a time where, being Native American, Tatanka would have like these sacred ceremonial, I believe they were eagle feathers.
Mm-hmm.
But they were stolen by Rick Martel, who decided, hey, I'm just going to wear them as part of my new clothing line. I'm going to wear them like on a beret or whatever.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so they kind of had a feud over the ceremonial feathers, which of course Tatanka won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Martel was so good. Look up a lot of his AWA stuff, or like Strike Force was fun to watch. K&M Connection was enjoyable to watch. Like, Rick Martel was he's on my underrated list. We'll put it that way.
Any matches of his you can think of just off the top of your head that would be good to look for?
Just Rick Martel in general. He's one of those that's like, find a Rick Martel match.
So kind of guy that's almost impossible to have a bad match?
Yeah, I can't think of one other than the WrestleMania one, the blindfold match.
Mm-hmm. And I can see why that was bad.
Yeah, I've never seen a blindfold match that actually worked. Just look up Rick Martel in general and then just be like, oh, that one.
Gotcha.
And I like how they were like, oh, because at one point he had thrown Tatanka outside a couple of times, and it's like, oh, this could have been we're still bringing up province of Quebec rules matches.
Why?
Well, I don't know. 2, and I get it, we've established that Rick Martel is Canadian, and which I knew this a long time ago. Once again, Can-Am connection. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
He actually is from Quebec, whether it's a Quebecite or Quebecian or whatever they're called. A Quebecer, maybe.
Quebeca?
Quebec, I don't want to use the hard R. That's a joke.
Oh, geez.
That's a testy joke. Yeah, he actually is. He's from Quebec City, Quebec, so technically he could do a province of Quebec rules. We know. Because that totally happens. That province of Quebec rules totally happens again.
Happens so often you've never seen it.
Exactly. It's like it's John Cena's favorite match. You can't see it.
Good one.
Yeah, thank you. But anyways, speaking of Rick Martel and his AWA time, at one point he did the nice sling. I can never say this damn word. Slingshot splash.
Ooh, that's what that's called.
Yeah, I know, right? Mm-hmm. And I know, once again, we always talk about wrestling. You're like Xander, which once again, you're using my fake name.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name one of Rick Martel's finishers that he had in the AWA? You specifically asked for the AWA too, which was even weirder because you have no idea what the hell the AWA is.
Like, I don't know where I keep getting these questions.
I don't know either because you don't even know who the AWA is. But yes, the oh, fucking Christ. Bot. Say it for me.
Slingshot.
Splash. Thank you. It was one of them. And then you said Xander. Once again, I was like, why are you using my fake name? You were like, did he have a second finisher he liked using in the AWA? Which is weird. Why are you asking about Rick Martel AWA questions when you had no idea about either one of them until today?
You say, yeah, must be glossolalia, words from God.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he would do a atomic drop into a back suplex.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, once again, this was a great match. Once again, he's the kind of guy that we established this. Good luck finding a bad Rick Martel match.
Right. At least a bad one fall match.
Yeah, like he can have a good match with anybody.
Right.
Now, this was a good match. It was a 2-segment match, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
The ending was off, and it bugged me. And it didn't ruin the match. Like, I'm not going to knock the match really for the finish.
Right.
Because Tatanka was outside, and every time he would try to kick Tatanka and make sure he stayed out of the ring, the ref would start the count over again, which was weird. Because everybody knows that when you start the count for like a count out,
right,
even if they're on the apron, they can still get counted out.
Right, they have to actually get back in the ring.
Yes, into the ring proper. So he does all this, and the Tatanka pulls him out, and then for some reason, the ref just does a very fast 10 count.
Yeah, I took note of that when I was taking my notes. That was a very fast 10 count.
Yeah, so we do get a double count out.
10 minutes and 52 seconds, and if we can backtrack for a bit, there was one spot that I really liked.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, go ahead.
After they came back from the commercial, there was a neat spot where either the position they were in, either of them could have locked in an ab stretch, and Tatanka was the one to eventually get it.
Yeah, once again, this was, you want technical stuff.
Rick Martel's the guy to go to.
Yeah, and I think they're preserving this because they're both going to be in the Battle Royal next week.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the Battle Royal, Bach, sir, we go to, I guess you would say, the quote-unquote Battle Royal Control Center, because it's just a segment showing who's in it.
Right?
Who's running the segment? Who haven't we seen since SummerSlam?
Joe Fowler, of all people.
Joe Fowler, the pimply-faced teen from The Simpsons. This was kind of nice to see. I was like, hey guys, we're here to talk about the Battle Royal next week for the Intercontinental title. Now, once again, he goes over the rules, because once again, it's not a normal Battle Royal. Instead of, Battle Royal until the winner, we're going to go to the last two men, and then the winner, or the last two men left, will have a match the week after for the Intercontinental title.
Right.
And they actually gave us the entire list, and I had to pause the show a bunch of times to get all these.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready, Senator.
IRS, Macho Man, Adam Bomb, Giant Gonzalez, which is actually, this is pretty much Giant Gonzalez's last appearance, other than like one or two small things. But for all intents and purposes, this is the end of Giant Gonzalez. Mr. Perfect, Owen Hart, Rick Martel, Jimmy Snuka, so now you know why he's on the show tonight.
Right.
Bob Backlund, Pierre and Jacques, both Quebecers.
Mm-hmm.
Razor Ramon, Mabel, Diesel, MVP, not that MVP, which is same because I am a big MVP fan.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler, with baseball painted on his face.
Huh.
Just wait. Just wait until '94 during the baseball strike.
Oh boy.
You're actually going to see this. This is going to come back under a different name.
Interesting.
But it's Steve Lombardi dressed like one of the guys that didn't make it in the Baseball Furies and the Warriors.
Okay.
Yeah. The 1-2-3 Kid, Bam Bam Bigelow, Marty Jannetty, Tatanka, and of course, we can't have a Battle Royal without the greatest wrestler that ever lived, Bastion Booger.
Oh yeah, I cringed when I saw that he was on the list.
So minus Giant Gonzalez and Bastion Booger, this is actually a really solid Battle Royal.
Well, Battle Royals are usually cluster craps to start with, so
you can say clusterfuck, we're grown adults here.
Yeah, Battle Royals are usually clusterfucks, at least in the early going, so.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that you have multiple tag team champions throughout this list, you have Intercontinental champions, you have world champions. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 future Hall of Famers just in this Battle Royal.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, we have tag champions. We have the current tag champions in here.
Mm-hmm.
We have, Mr. Perfect was Intercontinental champion. Owen Hart will become Intercontinental champion later on in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Marty Jannetty was tag team champion this year. IRS was tag champion, Marty Jannetty was Intercontinental champion this year.
Oh, yeah.
IRS was tag champion this year. Macho Man was a world champion. Bob Backlund was world champion. Like this, Diesel, fucking Kevin Nash. Like this is stacked.
Gonna say, yeah, now you've kind of listed off the accolades, I see just how stacked it is.
Yeah. Stacked bigger than Bastion Booger's boobies. There you go. Speaking of boobies, we got some half-naked men going on. We have the Raw debut of Ludwig Borga. We've seen him on, the syndicated shows, and then the famed segment at the end of SummerSlam with him and Lex Luger.
Yes.
Against fellow Paulo, who we've seen many times here. And here's the thing that I noticed about Bastion Booger, Ludwig Borga, because they both look the same, obviously.
Indeed.
Ludwig Borga totally doesn't look like a Brock Lesnar from '93.
Oh, gosh.
They said Ludwig Borga was a light heavyweight champion, 47-0. I believe they called it 47-0.
Something like that.
They said he's a light heavyweight champion, 47-0. In what?
Good point.
I know that they're trying to say it's a bad story. He's a badass backstory of all this.
Right.
You could have gave some sort of discipline. A boxer, kickboxer, slap fighter. I've been big into slap fighting lately. Ballroom dancing, maybe. Like, we don't know what he's a light heavyweight champion in. Just something.
Perhaps we can find out from Bobby Heenan, who loves giving us unrequested information.
Well, I guess they don't call him the Brain for nothing.
He's a fountain of unrequested information.
Oh, Bobby. I love me some Bobby Heenan. But yeah, this was a big debut match. Nothing happened. He threw the guy around, beat on him a little bit, torture rack for the win.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Only thing to note was a long hang on a suplex.
Oh, it was I like that. And it was just, he kept him there like vertical for a long time.
Yeah, I like seeing that.
Mm-hmm. So we get to our next match. Superfly Jimmy Snuka, who I don't think you're really familiar with.
No, this is my first exposure to him in any way.
Versus Paul Van Dale. And you were talking to me once again after, off air, as you always do, 100% about wrestling.
Of course.
And you came up to me and said, Xander, which once again, why are you using my fake name? Is there any enhancement talent out there who is the father of a future female wrestler, women's champion, tag team champion?
I did ask you that, didn't I?
Which was a weird, specific question.
Oddly specific, yes.
And you were like, did he ever wrestle Superfly Jimmy Snuka on Raw in 1993? Once again, your questions are fucking weird.
I know, right? Like I said, glossolalia, words from God.
Yeah, apparently. Because you're right. Paul Van Dale is the father of Carmella. That is Carmella's father.
Really?
It is, yeah. He had done some enhancement talent in the 90s in WWF. Matter of fact, Razor Ramon's first televised match as Razor Ramon was against Paul Van Dale.
Gotcha.
And I was looking up dates and everything. I think she would have been about 5 at the time. 5, 6 years old around this time. So she was still very young. But yeah, that is Carmella's father.
Neat.
Yeah. Not only that, they had already announced that all the participants in the Battle Royal for next week. Bobby calls Crush out of nowhere just to really dig it in. I love this. And he was like, hey, Crush, heard you're pretty healthy. And he's like, yeah, brother, I've been healthy for the last 2 weeks, best shape of my life. He goes, so they didn't call you for the Battle Royal? No. Randy's in it, right? Because we're still doing the descent between Randy Savage and Crush.
Yeah, the Discord.
Yeah, Bobby Heenan's basically like, hey, he's in it, right? How come he's in it and you're not? What's going on here?
Bobby stirring the pot.
Yeah, like I haven't seen somebody stir that much shit since I was deployed and I actually had to stir and burn shit.
Oh God, ugh.
Look that up. It's the burn pitch. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I haven't seen that much shit stirring since I was deployed in 2003.
Gotcha.
That's an oddly specific reference, and some people are going to get. But anyways, this was all Jimmy Snuka classics. Hits the Superfly splash for the win.
Yep. 3 minutes, 34 seconds.
Wasn't bad. Once again, it's just we're showing Jimmy Snuka. We got to have him for a couple shows. We'll have him wrestle an enhancement talent.
Going back to the phone call real quick, Randy calls out Crush. Just let's talk like men about whatever this is.
Yeah, and we'll, eventually we're going to get the payoff here soon, but yeah. And actually, they were actually very good in real life outside of wrestling. Like, they were actually very good, close personal friends.
Nice to know that.
Yeah. We go to a weird segment. Weird, not really weird, like odd-ish. But, IRS apparently has an office in the boiler room.
Because, of course.
Basically, him being in the Battle Royal, I hate Razor Ramon, tax cheats, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Yeah, but apparently he has an office it looked like the boiler room. Like, that was a weird thing. Apparently he also has a harem of IRS ladies.
As you do.
I mean, if I would have known that, I would have paid attention in finance classes in college.
I can do my own taxes, but that's about it.
Yeah. I would have paid attention if I knew that was waiting for me.
I would have too.
So anyways, we get to our tag title match of the Quebecers versus... Now, it was supposed to be Barry Horowitz and,
Reno Riggins.
Thank you, Reno Riggins. He says Reno Riggins has the flu. So they allow him to pick a partner. So for the WWF Tag Team titles, we have the Quebecers going up against the 1, 2, 3 Kid and Barry Horowitz.
I wasn't expecting much out of this, just based on what I know.
But I liked it because you got to see like a lot of really cool, like somewhat innovative offense from the Quebecers. Because we knew going in who was going to win this.
Yeah, that's why I didn't expect it. I did enjoy what we got.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a bad match.
Definitely.
And once again, and we'll talk about this a little bit too when we get to Saturday night for one of the matches.
Mhm.
When you get a enhancement talent like Barry Horowitz, who most people know him from this time in WCW, WWF as an enhancement talent,
Right.
but he was very, 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 very good.
Right. Like you've said, the best enhancement elevates the person they're enhancing.
Yeah, and like he wasn't just like a guy. I was like, oh, I'm an enhancement talent that wrestles like once in a while. Like he was known in Florida. Like this wasn't just Steve Fuckknuckle, who wrestles fucking Yoshi Kwan or fucking has a one-on-one match with Bastion Booger. Like Barry Horowitz could go
Enhancement to the stars, basically, is what you're saying.
ish, but not a little, maybe a rung below that because he would just lose to everybody.
Gotcha.
Like you had they quote unquote jobber to the stars where they would always beat the enhancement talent, but like when they would have to wrestle the names, they would usually lose.
Right.
Barry Horowitz would lose all the time.
Gotcha.
Barry Horowitz would lose to the jobber to the stars.
Okay, makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah. But he was very good, though. That's the thing. Like, this wasn't just a guy that did this on the weekends. Like, Barry Horowitz was good.
Right.
I just didn't. It's one of those things when you're a kid, you really don't get into that and you don't realize it. Once I got older, I realized, oh, okay.
Yeah, you can look back with hindsight.
Yeah. And then, of course, you got the 1, 2, 3 kids. So on paper, this is going to be a good... Even though you know the outcome, this has the potential to be a good match, and it was.
Right.
But here's the part that got me weird. So, Jacques gets thrown out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Completely out cold, unconscious, coma, dead, whatever.
So yeah, he is still.
Oh, by the way, this reminds me when I was talking about Yale, because we're in New Haven, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Johnny Polo's got to be the bad guy.
Right.
Comes out in Harvard gear.
Oh, of course.
Harvard, Ivy League, Hive, Boomy, whatever.
Where is Harvard? I don't remember.
Oh, Massachusetts? Look that up. Well, while I'm talking about Jacques here, go ahead and look up. I want to say it's either Massachusetts or...
Yeah, Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Because I know you got Princeton up there, you got Harvard, Yale, Brown, Dartmouth, all in that area.
Gotcha.
I think Penn is part of the Ivy League. But anyways, he's out cold, dead, unconscious, coma, whatever.
He's out.
Can't revive him. Bobby Heenan's throwing water on him. They put him on a stretcher and stretcher him out. And you think, oh, this is going to be a thing. He gets stretched out. Oh, psych, and beat up the good guys or whatever, right?
No, they actually take him away.
For the rest of the match. And then the ref says, and which is like, I don't agree with this. Like, why the ref would do this. And one, wouldn't it be a thing that you would do against the good guy team?
Right.
The ref makes Pierre defend the titles in a handicap match instead of stopping the match because of an injury.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
What the fuck? That makes no sense. So you're trying to get sympathy for the bad guy tag team, tag champs. And they try to say that, oh, they cheated to win them. Like, no, once again, everybody agreed on the province of Quebec rules. They won them within the rules of the match.
Right.
They keep trying to say they cheated. They did not cheat. Did they stack the deck in their favor?
Yeah, that's the exact turn of phrase I was going to use.
Yeah, they stacked the deck in their favor, but they still won within the rules of the match. That's not cheating.
Yes.
So now we're going to give them a disadvantage. Instead of calling the match, maybe having a rematch down the line, we're going to make the guy... By the way, you're now trying to elicit sympathy to the bad guy by having him defend his tag titles in a handicap match.
Because that makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. You see the problem here.
I do.
And it was the ref's decision. The ref decided this.
Yeah.
So they come back from commercial. Once again, we don't see Jacques the rest of the show. He's on the stretcher the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the end of the match, and Pierre's holding his own pretty well. I get it. Like, remember, PCO's a big dude.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3, he goes for a spin kick. Pierre low bridges him, so he spin kicks himself over the top rope, and that was just ridiculously looking nasty.
Yeah, I put in my notes. Yikes.
Yeah. Johnny Polo rolls him in, and we do get the win.
10 minutes on the nose. I like this.
Yeah, and it was just... Other than that weird ending, that was fucking weird.
It was.
But, like, once again, we knew the finish was inevitable, but why would you do it
like that?
Yeah. So anyways, Razor Ramon comes out for an interview after this for like 2 seconds. Hey, the Battle Royal's next week. Friends and foes. And apparently, even though Razor Ramon's only been a face for what, a couple months here,
Not long.
about a month or two before SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, him and Randy are best friends already.
Ha.
Yeah, we're you and I are buddy. You're friends with me. I'm friends with you. And I was like, oh, huh?
That's a little fast, don't you think?
Yeah, like I got problems with fast friends, but it was like just like they did that, and it was also like when Lex Luger became made in America Lex Luger, and he wasn't the narcissist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, everybody liked him,
Yeah, just
like instantly.
like flipping a switch.
Yeah, but yeah. This is the Raw. Like again, solid Raw. Once again, no notes. Everything was good. I mean, obviously, the featured match was the match of the night once again.
Honestly, I'm gonna go 1A, 1B between Martel and Tatanka and the main event.
Yeah, I can see that. And once again, it was a solid tag match. And once again, just because enhancement talent in it does not mean it can't be match of the night. We've both done that before.
Yes, we have.
All right, so we are going to WCW Saturday Night, October 2nd, 1993. We are now in October, folks.
We made it to month 10.
There we go.
And for some reason, this is another episode that is not on Peacock, and it was not, we could not rely on Not That Tom Green to get this one, so we used YouTube channel Turnbuckle Classics.
Yes. And the show opens with the man who puts Asian in Caucasian. I'm sad we're not going to see him much longer because I actually like using that term.
Mm-hmm.
Yoshi Kwan and Harley Race, who calls out Flair for next week. And I will give my opinions on this once we get to the Yoshi Kwan match, because he does wrestle later on.
Okay.
And just like, to me, storytelling wise, why, if I was Ric Flair, I would have said no.
Mm-hmm.
I'll save that for when we get to the Yoshi Kwan match later.
Okay.
We get into Sid Vicious with Colonel Rob Parker. For some reason, I forgot Sid Vicious and Colonel Parker were still together. So it threw me when Sid Vicious came out.
Ha.
Which is weird because I'm looking at his notes and everything, but when I was watching, I'm like, oh, they are manager and wrestler still.
Yeah, I've had a few things like that. Like this week, I forgot Pierre was PCO.
Yeah. Sid Vicious going up against Buddy Ryan, who, this was a short one, and Sid went for that choke slam. Damn near dropped. I don't know why he landed like this, but Buddy Ryan almost landed himself on his face.
Yeah, he tried a few things early in the match, but Sid was just not having it.
Yeah. Would you be if you were Sid Vicious?
Probably not.
But it was just the way he landed. It was all shoulder. He damn near face planted on a choke slam.
Because see, yeah, like commentary called attention to that, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. And then, Sid got the powerbomb for the win.
2 minutes on the nose.
Yeah. It's Sid. Like I said, once I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate Sid more.
Mm-hmm.
I got what I wanted with this.
Yeah, no notes.
Yep. Speaking of something that does need notes, it's the Amateur Challenge, and woo. These were actually worse this week than last week.
Yeah, this was cringe.
This was bad. The one guy sounded like he was doing a church sermon. Look, he was actually at church. The last one.
Oh, yeah.
I got church vibes out of it. But I was like, once again, I know, lost to time. I get it. I want to see the ones that didn't make it. If I could ever, like, that's Holy Grail for me.
I gotcha.
Like, everybody talks about the Tom McGee Bret Hart match that just only recently people found a copy of.
Mm-hmm.
The Holy Grail of wrestling.
Yeah, what event was that from?
It was actually just from a TV taping, but really look into that story. It's fascinating.
Gotcha.
Bret Hart was so good, he made a guy that looked garbage. Vince was about ready to make him the next Hulk Hogan, and the dude couldn't even fucking wrestle. Bret Hart was that good. Just look up the story.
Now, you said there was someone in the Amateur Challenge that I know.
Not this one.
Oh, not this one. Oh,
Matter of fact, it will be. I can look this up for you. Da 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 da. I'm trying to see. I'm looking at the sites I use.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find the one because it's a name.
Okay. I do want to say this though.
Yeah, while you're talking, I'm looking up while I'm talking this.
I thought the first person was Numa guy.
No, you're talking 93.
Okay. Like, just gave me the same kind of vibes as that.
Yeah. It's on here. I don't see, like, where it's at on here, but, like, this goes on until at least, okay, we're in November, December, at least December, recorded till December.
Okay.
But, yeah, it was, when I see it, I'll tell you.
I was going to say, remind me.
Yeah. Anyways, Now that we got that out of the way, folks, we don't know what the hell we're doing. Yeah, and I was like, the guy that's doing the background voice, the ring announcer or whatever for the amateur challenge, like, are these guys confident or crazy? And I was like, I know the answer to that. It's not confident.
Yeah, my answer is yes.
Yes, I'm confident that they're crazy. Because if this was the best they could do,
And like you said, if that's the best they got, what didn't make it?
yeah, like I said, if I could ever, my holy grail, as a wrestling fan, I want the amateur challenge videos that didn't make it.
I would love to see those too. Just
I'm going to put it out there right now. If I ever can get a hold of that, or anybody has those, I want to sit there with you and I want to Mystery Science Theater that shit.
oh, that would be incredible.
Yes. So that is life goals. If we can find amateur challenge videos, we will Mystery Science Theater that shit.
Hell yeah.
We do get a replay of the Rude Flair match for Fall Brawl, and we get this awesome promo about Rude's in his home, super nice suit with the title, basically saying, you always said you got to beat the man, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, I did beat the man. Once again, great promo from Rick Rude.
Yeah, he also pointed out beating the man and staying the man are two different things, and I like that too.
Yeah, and we're already going to find out, and we'll get a confirmation in the Halloween Havoc Control Center. We're getting the rematch in like 3 weeks at Halloween Havoc.
Hell yeah.
And then we're going to Stunning Steve Austin versus Pistol Pez Wiley. Remember when I was talking about, you get the good, you got the enhancement talent, and then you got the guy who's towards the end of their career that was a name that can go and knows how to like do match.
Is that why he's got the extra name of Pistol Pez?
Yeah, he was not. That was his name. He did a lot of he was like, you actually would see him in like early Starcade, like 83, 84, 85. Like he was a name, especially in like Jim Crockett Promotions, Mid-Atlantic territory. This is kind of nice. It's like, oh, Pistol Pez, like he could go. And I like how, because Stunning Steve, Pillman's not coming out with him. He comes out to the Hollywood Blondes theme song, does the camera thing, but no Brian Pillman. Apparently he's out with injury, not coming out with them at all.
As I recall, you said he broke his ankle, right?
Yeah, we saw that a few weeks ago when I think it was like a monkey flip or some sort where he landed on the ankle. Remember you saw the match where you could actually see where he hurt himself?
Right.
Yeah, but it's weird that Pillman's not even coming out. But anyways, Pistol Pez, this is where it's nice you get the guy that, hey, I can go. I know how to do a match.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be at the top of my game, but I can still go. And it's nice where you got a guy like Austin who can go. Like I said, we're 3 years out from Austin 316, so we're not too far from superstardom Austin.
Right.
Like I said, Pez is a good veteran. This is a good match where you got two guys that can go, and Pistol Pez knows how to make a guy look good. Austin looked like $1 million in this game.
Oh hell yeah, he did.
And I do like this good insight from Jesse. I believe it was Jesse that said it. Yeah, it was Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
Where he said, and it was Tony brought up a good question. He's been known basically, especially for the majority of 93, as a tag wrestler with the Hollywood Blondes with Brian Pillman. How is he approaching now that he's a singles wrestler for now, while Pillman's out with an injury? How's he approaching this different? Which I thought was actually a very good question.
Yeah, it really is.
And Jesse was like, oh, well, you're doing things where like you're doing moves to set up your partner's moves. You're, relying on your partner to tag in. It's like, it's a different psychology between a singles match and a tag match. And we established that Austin was a big single star in WCW before the Hollywood Blondes. He was the longtime TV champion.
Yeah, I remember them talking about that.
Yeah, I remember he was also in the Dangerous Alliance that we've talked about many, many times.
Mm-hmm.
He could go, but it was just like maybe there's a little ring rust from going from singles to tag for a better part of a year back to singles.
Right.
But yeah, this was actually for how long was this match?
This was only 3 minutes and 51 seconds.
Great match.
Yeah, it really was.
Austin gets the Sun Gun for the win.
Like I said, 3 minutes 51.
Yeah, great match.
Yeah.
Once again, when you got a veteran that can go, like Pistol Pez, this is what you get.
Right.
Tony is ringside with Austin. Austin says when Pillman comes back, they're going to go back for the tag titles. But right now, he's actually focused on Dustin Rhodes and the U.S. title. And surprisingly, it's kind of a shocker. Who comes out?
Colonel Parker, of all people.
Who says basically he's courting Austin. He's like, look, I've been seeing you since I came here. I know what you can do. You were the Hollywood. I've been watching since you were the Blondes, but I know you can go as a singles. Look, I want to put money in your wallet.
I wouldn't call this courting. I would call this schmoozing.
But he's courting him to add him to his stable.
Yeah, and Steve is not having it.
No, and he's like, look, trust me, my wallet's full. And so we'll see where this goes. Well, once again, and I hate saying this. I've been saying this since January. This is the beginning of the end of the Hollywood Blondes.
Yeah, you have been banging that drum.
Yeah, and it's the drum's about ready to go. We'll put it that way.
Gotcha.
I'm not happy.
I don't think I will be either.
No, because I fucking like the Hollywood. Once I knew they were good, but once I watched the majority of the Hollywood Blonde stuff, god damn it.
Yeah, they were better than you realized.
Oh yeah, and I knew they were good. That's what makes it even sadder. So we go to the Hollywood Havoc Control Center. We do get the confirmation that Flair's getting the rematch against Root, for the world title. That's not a world title because it's not the NWA world title anymore.
Right.
And then we're also getting the spin the wheel, make the deal match between Vader and Cactus Jack for the title.
Get some comments from Cactus Jack, and oh my god, he is so good.
God, it was good. He's like, look, you want to be a Cactus Jack? Cool. Then I want to be Vader against Vader. Basically, like, if you can do what I can do, then I can do what you can do.
Right.
And it was, once again, great. And I don't know, did we establish what the spin the wheel, make the deal match was last week?
I think we explained it. I don't think the show explained it.
Okay, so just to reiterate, like, they'll explain it by the time we get to Halloween Havoc. You'll see it a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
If I'll just do this in case, even if we did or not, I'll still explain it. Basically, if anybody remembers when around like 2010, 12, when they did the Raw Roulette, when they had the special episodes where they would spin the wheel and be a magical. This is the match you're having.
I think I saw that once when I tried watching from Survivor Series 2012 to see the Shield.
Yeah, basically that's what this is. It's like it's a big ass wheel, bunch of match stipulations on it. They spin the wheel, whatever match comes up, that's the match you have.
Right.
It could be a barbed wire match, Texas death match, chain match, strap match, whatever. There's actually they even said there's a spot on there that's spinner's choice. So if it rolls, whoever spins the wheel and it lands on that, they get to pick the stipulation.
And it was brought up that a strap match would really favor Vader after that amazing one he had with Sting at Super Brawl.
Yeah, like they had talked about this later. I think they talked about it during the tag title match.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, good questions like what would favor, like Jesse was like, Tony asked Jesse what match would favor Vader.
Right.
And he said friggin' strap match because once again, that amazing, which is still one of my favorite WCW matches of the year, that strap match he had with Sting at Super Bowl, which was fantastic.
It was amazing.
Yeah, and then they brought back Super Bowl again because he's like, okay, so what would Cactus Jack favor? And he's like, Falls Count Anywhere. Because he had that good Falls Count Anywhere match at Super Bowl with friggin' Paul Orndorff.
Right.
So we'll see where that goes. We come back from commercial. Great Flair promo.
Oh yeah, almost never a bad Flair segment.
Yeah, speaking of Flair, we go with Yoshi Kwan versus Bobby Baker.
Yeah, Bobby actually gave a good account of himself in this match. I was surprised by that.
Yeah. But we knew who was going to win this.
Yeah. Once Yoshi Kwan takes over, that's all she wrote.
Nerf hold for the win.
2 minutes, 37 seconds.
Okay. This is where we were talking about, at the top of Saturday night, where I said if I was Ric Flair, storyline-wise, I would say no to this match.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing. Harley Race says this is the best the Orient has. Right?
Right.
So you have a guy, let's just use Saturday night because that's what we've been watching mainly.
Okay.
Yoshi Kwan has wrestled enhancement talent. He beat Marcus Alexander Bagwell, which, nothing against Bagwell, but at this point in his career, not the biggest feather in your cap if you can beat Bagwell.
Right.
He had a match against Scorpio. He lost by disqualification. He had a match with Cactus Jack that Cactus Jack won in, 3 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
How am I supposed to be afraid of this? Like, yeah, you gotta fight him. He's the crazy. Like, no.
He's not reputable enough yet.
This is not a Flair level, a match.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I would be like, no, you just lost in 3 minutes to Cactus Jack. You've beaten, Bagwell's the biggest name you've beaten.
And like you said, Bagwell's not too big at this point, right?
Yeah, like he would, this is remember, this is Rookie of the Year, Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
Right.
This is not Buff Bagwell. This is the guy that, Marcus Alexander Bagwell that lost to Greg Valentine in 92.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, so we go to a promo with Tony and the Shockmaster with a bunch of kids. And here's the thing. I didn't hate this. I kind of enjoyed this segment. I really did.
Yeah, Shockmaster's playing up like he's a blue-collar worker. That's how he's dressed.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If this was the Shockmaster they gave us,
As opposed to the Klutz.
yeah, you see him, he's sitting in his house, that's supposed to be his house with a bunch of kids, watching the Cartoon Network. They specifically said Cartoon Network. And which is funny because TBS, this was on TBS, which is a Turner property, right?
Right, and Cartoon Network was too, wasn't it?
Yeah, and as far as I know, it still is. And it was relatively new. I think, I remember watching it like 93, so I think it was within the first couple years. So it was a nice plug. They specifically said Cartoon Network.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, and you see he's got, I get, what, about a good 5-6 kids around him all around the couch?
Yeah.
And if you look, you're facing the camera, you look at the kid at the far left in the black shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I sing, Bach? Do you mind if I do this?
Knock yourself out.
Adrenaline in my soul, sitting on the couch with Cody Rhodes. Because the kid in the dark shirt with the rat tail on the far left is fucking Cody Rhodes.
You did tell me he was in this segment. I didn't know who it was until you pointed it out.
That the kid that was basically crawling all over the place in the black shirt was Cody Rhodes in 1993. That's fucking Cody Rhodes.
That is awesome.
And I like how Tony was like, "Oh, well, you're dressed in the blue collar gear. Why are you doing this inside your costume? The big, gimmick change." And he's like, "Well, my dad was a blue collar worker. I'm raising it. I'm showing this as a show of respect to,
all the blue collar workers."
And okay, there was something in this segment that actually got me to snicker.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you got, Shockmaster, the hard hat. He's wearing the hard hat in the house watching the cartoons with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the same outfit he had on during Fall Brawl.
Right.
So, and, everybody calls him Uncle Fred, which actually that was Cody's Uncle Fred. He was related to him as an uncle.
Neat.
So, yeah, this is the thing. I think he was Dusty's like brother-in-law. He was just like Dusty Rhodes' sister or something like that. An actual relative. So he's sitting there, and I was like, okay, this is kind of funny. Tony's like, hey, why do they call you Uncle Fred? Remember, he's in his Shockmaster gear, right?
Right.
He goes, so why do they call you Uncle Fred? And he goes, because they don't know I'm the Shockmaster.
I missed that bit.
I was like, okay, that's funny. Because he's in the costume.
Right.
And I was like, if they had this where he's like, oh, I'm kind of a bumbling, I'm kind of adult, but, hey, kids love me, I'm a blue-collar guy, blah, 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 I would have dug it more.
Yeah. It would have been better than what we got.
Yeah. And then you do this thing, it's like, Uncle Fred, can you blow up this balloon? Like, it was one of those balloons that got the rubber bands. It's kind of like the punch balloon.
Yeah.
And, this was a thing where it was, they cut away from it. He's like, blows it up bigger and bigger, pop, and it cuts away, and he's got all the powder that was in the balloon.
Yeah, you can actually see one of the kids filling the balloon with the powder earlier.
Yeah, but it was this was endearing in a funny way. If he played this lovable, bumbling goof, as opposed to, I'm gonna kick your ass, I am the Shockmaster, I'm not a glittery pink stormtrooper. And then, like, if we got this, excuse me, this whole Shockmaster the whole time.
Yeah, that would have been fine.
Yeah. But, like, this was, like, I wish this was the Shockmaster we got from the beginning. This was great. Like, I honestly, no notes for the segment. This was probably the best thing I've seen the Shockmaster do so far.
Agreed.
So, honestly, we call it rematches. Good things we've already seen. We get a rematch for the tag titles that from the match we had at Fall Brawl. It's the Nasty Boys versus Arn Anderson and Paul Roma.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great.
The Nasty Boys are staying outside the ring for a while right off the rip, and I'm not sure why.
Because, once again, they don't have to beat Anderson and Roma to keep the tag titles. Anderson and Roma have to beat them.
Right. Duh.
You can lose by count out and, disqualification, whatever. And here's the thing. We go back, they go to commercial, they come back, and they show, like, what happens during the commercial.
Yeah.
With an odd, the videos they used for, like, the picture-in-picture.
Mm-hmm.
It was placed weirdly. It looked like, almost like, this is what it reminded me of. Like, we've all seen any of the 9 Star Wars movies, right?
Right.
How the text scrolls up.
Yeah.
It looked like the text would be scrolling from the middle, going diagonally up towards the top of the screen.
Yeah, it was weird the way they framed it.
It looked weird. It was hard to see what it was. Roman hit a crossbody and damn near won there in the commercial, but it was a weird, like it was a weird angle.
Yeah, that crossbody was really good.
Yeah, it was great, but it looked weird.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, and it was just, I also noticed that we're going through this, and we noticed the Nasty Boys are brawlers, but we showed here they could also wrestle because they kept up with Arn Anderson for this match.
They did.
So we know that the Nasty Boys can wrestle when they need to, but that's not the part that excited me most.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a WCW title match next week. We're getting Vader defending against fucking Ricky Steamboat.
That's going to be amazing.
It's going to be so good. But honestly, now here's the thing. This match was great. I did like the Fall Brawl one better, and I think because there was the commercial break, we knew it was going to be shorter.
Mm-hmm.
But this was still a really good television match, but I did like the Fall Brawl one a little bit better.
I think I did too.
Yeah, once again, this is not saying this match was bad because this wasn't even remotely bad.
No, nowhere near.
Yeah, back and forth. They beat on Anderson for quite a while. Roman comes in, gets the hot tag. They do hit the spine buster swan dive combo.
Mm-hmm.
And then while the ref's distracted, Sags hits Roman with his boot with the ref's back's turned, and Nasty Boys win.
And that was about 15 minutes of action.
Yeah, it was a great match. Once again, no notes.
There was one bit I really liked. Skaggs had Arn on the ground for a while, and Arn was able to bridge back to a vertical base. I always love seeing that.
Oh, I love that. You know me, it's that match I love so much.
Mm-hmm.
Or that moment I like so much.
Gotcha.
But yeah, once again, great match. No notes.
No notes. And that is how we end.
Yeah, and that was my match of the show right there.
I think that's also my match of Saturday night.
Yeah.
But I think my match of our episode is going to be Rick Martel and Tatanka.
I honestly am going to go the tag title match.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Overall, great shows from both.
Yeah, good showings. I would rate both of them as a B+.
Yeah, absolutely. We are Dropkicks and Attractions. You can find us at capital D and capital A Podcast One on Twitter. We are on YouTube, Rumble, whatever podcasting sites are left because they're dropping like flies. Find us anywhere. Basically, Spotify and anything resembling Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Where can we find you, sir, in your projects?
I am at Big Boct, BIGBOCT. Pretty much any social, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. As for what I've got going on, I'm still streaming a couple days a week, and that's about it. That's about it for the time being. Where can we find you, Xander?
I am Xander Victor's everywhere. Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I am doing something that's slightly different. All my WWF 2K24 content is shifting over to YouTube. I'm going to try this out where I'm going to pre-record everything and then try to do it about 5 or 6 days a week. Posting a video up on YouTube. So far, so good. We did just start doing something where twice a week I post a one playthrough match from the entire roster.
Oh, wow.
Alphabetically. This includes all the personas and all the side characters and all the different versions of all the characters and everything. So far, we've done phenomenal AJ Styles and Akira Tozawa.
You've got your work cut out for you on that.
Yeah, well, it's just like a 6-minute video. Like, I do one match as that character.
Oh, you're just going through the whole roster. Gotcha.
Yeah. And then basically what I've been doing, I can't get rid of this game because I fucking love it so much. On Twitch, this is kind of just like I'm doing, my relaxing time when I play video games. I'm doing the Division 2 again.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody knows my mom is in the chat, Madre Xander. So if you ever see her in chat, say hi. She actually dressed my character I use for the stream.
Oh, neat.
Surprisingly not as goofy as I thought it was going to be. I was, I'm not saying she would have done goofy stuff, but I was like, oh, this just seems not too different from what I would have done.
Gotcha.
With pink sunglasses.
Love
but
it.
not like bright pink, like metallic pink. It actually looks kind of cool.
That's neat.
Yeah, so once again, watch me there. We're going to be, some of us, depending on schedule and everything, some of us might be at a couple places in August, especially in the Ohio area, to watch wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You can see us there. Come by any of our streams, watch our videos. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Take care.